My name is Ralph Reichler. I'll be a guest on this show in the future, but for today I'm the announcer. So let me introduce the producer and host of the show, Helen Yalof.
Ida, is there anyone finer in the state of Carolina than you?
Hello, Helen.
Hello, Ida.
I'm telling you, it's been a joy to be invited here to be with you today. Marian Anderson was, going to the same foot doctor as I went to. And I would ask the nurse, I said, when is Marian Anderson have an appointment? And so every time she would call me, I would make an appointment just before, or I would get down there just when I knew she would be leaving, so I'd be able to talk to Marian Anderson. I'm, so impressed, When you think about what she did, and, with Mrs. Roosevelt and singing everything that she did, and also what she had family values, because her mother, she used to come with her mother to the foot doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had good foot care. And I bragged about the fact that we had the same one. Mm-hmm. Yes, and yes, I have seen her. I've spoken to her. Because I like to be around people who have done something.
That guy whose life you sort of saved, whom you found on a soup kitchen, whom I met at AAUW. Can you talk about what you used to do in the soup kitchen? And
a soup kitchen. I would the breakfast for the homeless was over at St. Peter's Church.
The one on 23rd Street, Lexington.
Yeah, Lexington Avenue, and I would get there 6:30 on Tuesday morning, and we would make giant coffee, and giant big pots of this, that, and the other. I think every Tuesday morning we made about 250 peanut butter sandwiches, and there was a group of people who would come come from Brooklyn. They came from anywhere, and it was so important. We became very, very connected with each other, and also we connected with the homeless. And I had great, wonderful friendships on the street. They call me the Hat because I always wear a hat, and I wear a hat because I used to have, when I was in college, page boy like Gene Turney, mm-hmm. and Veronica Lake, mm-hmm. with over our eyes. My father would say, "What, can't somebody get that child a bobby pin? Her eye, she's going to be one-eyed." But it had big influence on us, all of these things. And I was one of the times that I remember so well. I was trying to make a light on Lexington Avenue, and there was somebody put his hands on my shoulder and he said, "Missy, I know who you are, and you can't get there till you can get there." And he held me back. He was one of the people that I poured coffee for, So I had a wonderful connection with them, and not only I.
Well, there was this wonderful guy who was a veteran, whom you got a job at AAUW.
That's right. That is right.
And that was
I was doing a art show at AAUW to raise money for scholarships, and I had ordered these easels, and they came all broken down. I said, I'm desperate. I need help. And does anyone know how to put the things together? And so this one man said, "This over here, he's the man who is a carpenter." And I got this man and gave him a job at AAUW.
Very nice man.
Yeah, Don.
Yeah.
Don was the first one.
Right.
And Don and I really and truly were good friends. but unfortunately he had cancer.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And yes, and went to our wonderful Calvary's Church hospice. And then I got Ray. When Donald wasn't able to come anymore, then I got Ray. And you know, it was great, and everybody loved Ray.
Love Don too.
Oh yeah, we learned both of them.
I
So-
still would like to know, because you were telling me what it was like to be a child in South Carolina and in your father's family when you were growing up, because that's a world that no longer exists.
I know it doesn't. But that's some of the things that I have written about.
Yeah.
And one of them was my little brother had pneumonia. And the crisis came. And where the crisis is that the temperature goes so high and they have to cool them off. And so on this night, there were great big tin tubs, wash tubs, and ice, cubes of huge ice from the ice.
Block of ice?
Block that you got from the ice house, wherever it was. And so what they would have to do is to put the child into the cold water, wrapped
To get
up
the
in
fever down?
Yes, to get the fever down. Whoosh. We, Mary and Dot and Jim and I were sitting in the next room that long night. And suddenly we realized that we didn't know where our mother was. And I was desperate. I went out to the hen house, I went out to the cotton house, I went out to the barn, the smokehouse, while I thought she might be there somewhere. It was, but I couldn't find her. But I went back and started in the house again. And I remember no electricity. So the only light was in where Jim was, and we were sitting by the fire.
Jim is the boy.
My brother,
Yeah.
yes. And I heard a voice, and I realized that it was my mother's voice, but I couldn't see her. But I followed the voice, and there she was behind a trunk, an old-fashioned trunk with barrel tops, and a huge thing. She was behind it, and this is what I heard her say: "Dear God, not my wish, but yours. I give you my son." Now, she loved him dearly, and I thought, how could she even bring it there?
Say
But
that.
that changed my life,
How did it change your life?
because you're willing to give up something that you love with pure faith that it was going to be all right.
And he did get better.
The next morning at breakfast, my father said blessing, and then he told us Jim is okay. And we all went off to school.
So what was the farm like?
Oh, a farm, we raised cotton, and we raised corn and wheat and oats, because that had to feed the cows and whatever. And then wheat was for grinding up for flour. Corn we shucked when it dried and whatever, and then ground it up for cornmeal. And then of course we had in the wintertime hogs that were slaughtered early in the morning. And I can remember the great big wash tubs and great big pots, huge pots, black pots, where they rendered the fat. And from the fat, we cooked with it, and we also made soap with it in the same pots. You mix the fat with the fat with what did you mix it with? It was
I don't know.
With something. I don't remember what it was. And then that solidified, and we cut it up like that to wash clothes with.
Was that just for yourself, or were you selling it to other people too?
No, well, you said everybody made their own.
So it was just taking care of your own family.
And you know, in those days, the family was maybe 15 people. My father didn't like to follow the plow. He ran away from home and hooked a ride first to a wagon to where the train was. And at that time, if anybody wanted to get on the train, wanted to get on the train, they could get on the train. I said, "Where are you going, boy?" "I'm going to Clemson College." "Come on in." Walked across the campus and said, "I want to go to school." And they put him in the kitchen. And he graduated as a valedictorian.
The kitchen of the school?
School,
In
yes.
other words, to do some work.
Yeah.
Okay.
He worked his way.
Scholarship work, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he graduated. What about his father? Did he ever connect back to him again?
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. You know. Well, Southerners were always fighting with each other, especially the families. And when I start talking about my family and things, and I just can keep going on and on and on and on and on. So it's been a wonderful trip for me. You ask about Mrs. Lauder. She was such a family person, you know. And when she came to me and said, "I want you to go to Paris because I want to go have my cosmetics sold in Paris. And I want you to go and introduce my line to the Parisian press, beauty press, and for the store managers." So I don't know anything about going to Paris. I don't even quite knew where it was. And so the day I left, I said to her, "Mrs. Lauder, you going to wish me luck?" And she said, "No, I'm not going to wish you luck. I wish you happiness. You make your luck."
Oh my.
And that gave me the freedom to do most anything that I wanted to and how I wanted to do it. She gave me the freedom to try it out. And so many things. For example, we came out with it was called Go Bronze. I named it. It was a color you would squeeze out of a tube, put it on your face, and you would have a wonderful suntan. And so I introduced it. One of the places I introduced it to was Bloomingdale's here, but also in Atlanta, Georgia. And so how are you going to show it? How are you going to show it? So I had gotten a model. So she did that in the Atlanta stores. And people would come over and see what in the world that was. But that way, and I also had hired her to be on television for me to show how it worked. And would you believe it? The night before, the studio called and said, "I cannot have a guest. I cannot bring my model on. So how am I going to talk about my product, Go Bronze?" And so what I did, I took an eyebrow pencil, black, and started up here, straight down, straight down, straight down, all the way to here.
On you?
On me. And all night long, I was up putting it on here and here and here and here and here and here. And here I am over here, white. This was dark. And I had a wraparound skirt that could just unbutton and drop it off. And then I had a top, the same thing. So I go out and I started talking about my Go Bronze. And with that I said, "You know, it's terribly hot in here, it's terribly hot." So I took off my jacket. So here this arm is as black as I could get it, and this arm was white. It was white. Nobody noticed it on my face because I always wore a hat.
Oh.
And that it was more interesting.
So they just thought it was a shadow.
Oh yeah, they didn't know.
Yeah.
And so then I sat over and I said, "Oh my goodness, it's hot." I took the jacket off, and there I am. Then I said, "It's still too hot." I took off my skirt. So the product absolutely sold out completely. People went everywhere to do it, and that way, and that's how we made Gold Bronze the biggest item in the Estee Lauder line for over 3 years.
A happy accident.
I'm happy. I know. I was desperate to have to sell my product somewhere or another.
Yeah.
But I was given the freedom. I had the feeling of being free to try to sell the product and show what it would do and how you could do it. So that was that, and it was also it's creative. You know, it's doing entertaining too. You know, people want to see what all is going on. And one of the things at that time, I was going to see a, can't remember the doctor, but I was, anyway, I went to see him, and he got very upset when he saw me. And he left the examination room and came back with 2 or 3 other doctors. And I thought, what's wrong with him today? What's wrong? And he said, we can't understand how you've changed color.
Oh, you were wearing the makeup?
It was, oh yeah, it didn't, well, you had to wear it off. It didn't just come off.
Oh.
It didn't, you couldn't wash it off.
Oh.
Oh, you couldn't wash it off, no. And I said, oh, that's my way of doing it. But it was lots of fun. But here again, I had the Lord has gave me a place where I felt like I could do what I wanted to show, and also called fun. It was terribly fun.
Was your husband also an engineer?
No, my husband was an executive with
Oil.
Standard Oil.
Do you want to talk about him at all?
Well, my husband was a good organist. He was came from Johnstown at the peak of when all the Carnegies were there and the steel mills and everything. His father died, and he and his brothers worked in the house and also worked all the time because his father died very early. And he came to New York and got a job as a secretary to one of the oil companies, and stayed there until he, got up to the top of being secretary of that company. And one of the things that was interesting to me, he was the one that was sent to Washington to get permission to back Texaco Opera. Do you remember Saturday?
Oh, you mean the TV show?
Because they were the sponsors for years.
Right.
And also he liked to farm, and he raised horses.
And how did you meet?
Standard. Oh, church.
Church.
I lived on Riverside Drive, and I was going to Riverside Church.
Okay.
And I had a system. I would go get dressed, get my laundry together, run down, stick it in the washing machine, and then run up a block and late to church. And I went upstairs and was creeping in the upstairs area, and he was a usher. And every Sunday I got there exactly, and then watching I knew it was finished. And then I get up and I left. And I left to go and put my in the dryer.
Did you come back?
No.
So you're there for the length of the washing machine?
I covered. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I did after that. But he kept having to open the door for me, back and forth. And so she started, what is your timing? What is this? And we started talking.
You lived in my building for a while. The building that I now live in, you and your husband lived for a while.
Yeah, oh yes.
You told me
right
that.
After we were married, we had an apartment in your building.
Yeah.
and looked out over the
Washington Square Park.
Yeah, Washington.
You had probably a better apartment than I have.
And then I really don't remember.
You don't remember.
No.
You told me about it.
Well, I know
At that time you
it
remembered.
had a balcony on it, and I was never able to really grow any flowers because the wind was so bad.
A big wind,
Yeah,
Washington Square.
It was a lot of wind.
Do you want to talk about the books that you are writing now?
Well, I'm writing about what I'm talking about now.
Okay.
Which is
Your life?
my life as it is has happened. I just had a fine time. My family now is myself and my sister who lives in Rochester, New York, and she's 96.
Really?
Yeah, she's 96. Mm-hmm. It was fun.
And you're on good terms with her, I remember.
Yeah, oh yeah. You have any other questions for
I'd
me?
say knowing you has enriched my life and a lot of other people's lives. You are very beloved. Why are you so beloved?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I try to be beloved.
You try?
Oh, I try.
You succeed. You've helped a lot of people.
Well, I have been fortunate enough that I could. Yes, we had a member of our organization who was an actress, and she became sick and didn't have anybody or anything. So for 2 years, I saw her pretty much every day in her apartment. And then finally we got her into the actors' home in New Jersey.
Oh, yes.
And then over there, I went.
And I did a show there for her.
Oh, yes, you did. Mm-hmm.
What was her name again?
Judith Mays.
That's right.
Judith Mays.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that was a wonderful fun too, because I saw so many interesting people, wonderful performers who were over there, and a great place. So I've done a lot of things. I've traveled Europe, went to Japan, and opened up Estee Lauder. I went to Australia numbers of times. Did I say Japan?
I think you did.
Japan.
The archives. What's the whole thing about the archives?
Which archives?
You want your materials to be given.
Yes, to my college. My college, I went back to my college to teach, which was one of the greatest honors I could ever have. The idea that I would be able to come back and teach.
Name of college?
Winthrop University.
Winthrop University.
And then I also am interested in lots of other colleges, which I find very satisfying. Presbyterian College in South Carolina, in my hometown, and.
But you're handling all your works, and you bought back a painting that I bought.
Yes.
From you.
Yes.
I assume to give to the archive.
Yes,
right?
yes, that's going to the archives.
She did beautiful paintings of flowers.
Yes.
Do we have any pictures of that?
No, most of them I do. Most of them I do. But it's just been wonderful. It's been wonderful being here with you too. Helen has some of the greatest songs. What was
Whatever happens.
Whatever happens.
Whatever happens, I'm happy that we met, which is the title of the show.
Mm-hmm. So that's a great one.
Yeah.
And it's going to be in my book.
That's right.
It will be in my book. And so it's been a good life. I recommend it to everybody. Oh, and when I die, over my tombstone, I already have my tombstone, because when my husband died, who's my burial ground as a child, that's where he wanted to be buried. And I couldn't make up my mind as to what kind of tombstone would look well, because it's in the same area as my family plot. My father, grandfather, all of them. Until I found a man, tombstone, selling tombstones. He said, "Mrs. Stewart, I'll give you 2 for the price of 1. And I thought, well, that's goodbye. And who is going to put a tombstone up for me? And so I said, your deal. Fine. Now I have to think about what I'm going to put on the tombstone. So this is what I put on it.
Yes.
Ida Crawford Stewart,
Mm-hmm.
born December the 13th, 1922, and lived. Now, I want you to think. If you spell lived backwards, what do you have? You were born, you were given a gift. And if you don't live that life, it's devil.
It's what?
Devil.
Devil?
Devil, yes. Lived.
Oh, reverse.
Absolutely. Backwards, what
Yeah.
is it? If you don't live your life, then it's a devil. It's a sin. And that's what's on there. Because it hasn't done stopped yet. And there's to be 100 balloons. They're going to be turned loose over this whole countryside. And they say, thank you for a wonderful life. I'm off on another career. And with that, I think we'll have to say goodbye.
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 Until tomorrow.
Until tomorrow. And tomorrow and
Tomorrow breathes in this petty pace. Goodbye to Ralph, our guest of the future. And it's been wonderful being with you. And I hope you had a good time too. Thank you.